Vanguard podcast brought to you by you, patrons. Patreon.com/Nexus at Night. Oh, wait, this is just a regular episode. I'm Atlas.
I'm Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
And I'm Amy.
And so Bushiroad Online, BRO, Rumble.
Sure was on the internet.
That was on the internet over the weekend, and I did not see most of it, and I feel bad.
Neither did I. I didn't even look at
it.
Proof Cord for like results or anything because I'm such a great host.
I
The
watched
VODs will be up soon, TM.
Yeah, I watched some of it
Because they have to watch them first to make sure that like there's nothing unlicensed that would get them in trouble if they uploaded it.
Right, and or like the one guy who's like, "Is that a penis in the top right corner of the shot?" What?
Yeah,
what,
you know.
what is that doing there? It's like the one guy who likes to play with his dick out or whatever.
Oh God. Please no.
Dude, I played against a guy once. Who like, it wasn't like suggestive. It was like relatively normal for just chilling out. But we were about to be on stream, so they had to make him like shift positions or whatever, because like he was playing like on his bed, right? Because he didn't have a desk or whatever. So his mat was like laid out like this, and then he was just sitting. He was just sitting out. He was just sitting splayed so that he could play the game. So they had to make him move.
You just saw junk the whole time? That's awful.
Tables are too difficult to come by.
When they did the Card Fight Con Invitational, I was over at my mom's place. So the entire time you could just hear like the shot was on like the table, but you could just hear her talking around and not getting the concept of I'm doing a thing, please leave me alone. So she'd just be like asking questions and stuff. I don't know if they have the VODs up for that, but there was a part where I moved outside out of frustration.
Outside. We're taking this
remote
fight on the road.
The second you're trying to do something is when everyone wants to talk around you. Not even to you, just around you.
Yeah. Or like whenever someone calls my desk phone, that's when 5 other people decide to call my desk phone. It's never like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5.
Just all at once.
And you figure out how to deal with it. Enjoy.
So this was premium format this weekend, and in terms of like who won and what decks were in the top 8. Luckily, I have saved the infographics on Twitter, so we can just kind of tell you them real quick. But otherwise, like every other big Vanguard YouTuber has said something by now about.
Yeah, I want to take a look at the So you might have noticed that while a lot of the lists for like the same archetypes of decks were very different over the weekend. There's one Nightmare Doll list that was played several times because WCC came up with it and they just shared the list amongst themselves.
Yeah, I remember a different fight saying that in his video about like the top 4s of all the places.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, in Strolling Down, and I think it was Asia Oceania, like Pale Moon got the win, and then so Asia Oceania top 2 were Nightmare Dolls and Shadow Paladin. In North America, top 2 was Nightmare Dolls and Regalia, Genesis, and then in Europe it was Shadow Paladin and Narukami, Eradicator specifically. Why? Just because Genesis?
Yes.
But yeah, I want to talk about the Nightmare Doll list out of spite because I know somebody who was like, "Oh, Nightmare Dolls are just worse Hari," and that is the coldest take I've heard in years.
I have Nightmare Dolls. I'm holding them.
They're great. They're great.
They're very good. Now, Matt was saying that the ban list hit with Periton versus Harry versus like Pale Moon's dead. Come on.
Well, virtually every list I saw prior to this event was really bad. Like the list people were playing before were just not good.
Yeah, you're right. There were some like garbage lists.
Even the one that got second, even the one that I think Derek Dow played in Different Fights event that got second was like really low on engine. Like it was
Yeah, the
just
Derek Dow list was cope. The Derek Dow list was very much cope.
But, like,
he tried
every
his best though. It's because he's a good.
every list then was like actively pretty bad.
Mhm.
Like to say that like, oh, I knew when like every list like you were presented with was just not good, and then like you didn't have a list but you said it was good is like not like valuable information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everyone being like, oh, I was right the whole time, when like a list that like didn't play either of the restricted cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was like the one that people were going after. That was a lot of that was, I think possibly a lot was its matchup in the Grand Blue was pretty important too, right?
No, that's fair. I'm dunking on a specific person who is a Hari player and was like, Hari is the best deck. Actually, it's not the best deck. What do you mean Pigeon's broken? Stop telling me Pigeon's broken.
And so he's in the pantheon with 12 attack Pale Moon guy now.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the 12 attack Pale Moon guy.
But like, I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm also not willing to let people pretend that they knew like they knew this deck existed when they did not.
So I didn't know this list existed, right? But I knew that like Nightmare Doll still had like hella potential.
They were definitely the best of all the archetypes, even before the list was figured out, for sure. But
I wouldn't have come up with this exact list. I wouldn't have been able to play it to its fullest potential.
Now, I've been playing with Nightmare Dolls like since we got those like those newer ones, like this gal, where she lets you kill herself at end phase to get a grade 3 from Soul in the Hand and countercharge 1. So that allows that allows you not only to like get your ride if you happen to get this early, but also allows you to get Heal Guardians, because your Heal Guardian is a Nightmare Doll.
Is a grade 3 Nightmare Doll, yeah.
So, yeah. One thing that I wasn't playing that I saw that they were playing that I think made a difference was Rollick, which...
I want to talk about Rollick for a while, because I've seen some like Rollick dissenters, you know? And they're wrong. I've seen some people say, well, with the space that you're using to play Rollick, you could just play further consistency cards, or not further consistency cards, but like more combo pieces. But the thing is, you're not going to get far enough to do your combo if you're not playing Rollick, because people know at this point that you can rush Pale Moon down and then they will die.
So it wasn't just that; it was also the unique ability of Nightmare Doll Carol, who is the grade 3 that when was it any rear guard? Grade 3 rear guard is put in your
when
soul.
Any grade 3 rear guard is the soul, you can ride any Workeroid from your soul. The grade 2 or grade 1 Workeroid.
Exactly. So you can they're in a unique position to be like a rush turn 3. And then on Carol's effect, you can ride back down to grade 2, which then A, allows Rollick to be live again, and B, prevents the opponent from striding on their turn 3, turn 4 total of the game.
By the way, Aquaforce fans, take notes, because Rollick might be a huge win for you guys.
Yeah, that's with Thavas. I think somebody did that in one of the places, right? Because Thavas can ride Lambros from deck, and then at end phase you ride a grade 3 from Soul, but if there's no grade 3 to ride, you ride anything. So if you Soul Blast your Thavas out, there you go, ride your grade 2 from
Then you
Soul.
ride a grade 2. But I wanna talk about the list in so much detail, because I actually got the chance to play against it. I played against Wirab.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, so I played against Wirab. There was about a 4-turn bout of me on Wonder Ezel, him on Marissa. And we were just going like, okay, poke Vanguard or poke rear guard. Really, really scared of riding up and giving the other person first stride, because we knew that whoever strode first would just blow the other one out.
Yeah.
Except I did get first stride, but I didn't see my a heal for a G guard, so I couldn't ultimate stride, and that cost me the game.
Oof.
Damn. And you were using golds, right?
Yeah, I was on Ezel.
Okay. So wait, if you were afraid of like riding up, you didn't get the like ride skip thing, and then you could.
No, I had the ride skip, the superior ride combo, and I went second. If I did ride up, he would just ride first.
Gotcha.
Another interesting about the tournament, right, is that it was open deck list. So that's another aspect of deck list that I want to talk about. is that they're playing the Formido, right? And Formido is one of Nightmare Doll's few ways of like killing cards. Yeah. Because it can just make your opponent put cards in the soul. So if you look at your opponent's list and they're on and you don't see a Formido, you know that you can say commit a Honolly early in the game and not have to worry about that Honolly going anywhere.
About that. So Formido, first off, retires for every open circle that they have.
Okay,
Don't they
retires
have
them, right?
Don't they have Chelsea to get rid of Honolly?
That's what I was going to say.
Chelsea can too. Chelsea can too. But like, it's one less way that they have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to draw into or like get the Chelsea off the top 7 with your grade 2.
Which they will eventually. They're gonna see Chelsea in the game, but like Formido is something that they're pretty much always just gonna have, you know?
Yeah, it's accessible at a moment's notice if they have the second copy.
The WCC list only had 2 Chelsea, right?
I think so. That's what most people I've been seeing have played, like before and now after. Chelsea is like an ancillary thing. Like she's a backup ride if you don't see Carol, because she can at least like call a board off of it. But the main purpose is to be that Honolly removal. Because Honolly
the one I clicked on to get the list was Kevin Cho's, and they were running Kevin Cho was on like one more Chelsea. I think he cut in Elin for that third Chelsea.
Okay.
But like the point is they're not on full play sets of Chelsea.
Yeah, no, you're definitely not. Carol is your most important ride. Alice is your most important rear guard. Chelsea is just kind of there.
Chelsea is just like spice.
I need to get rid of the Honolly.
Yeah, now, you gotta get rid of the Honolly.
If there's any deck that, like with G guards or whatever, it can like play the Honolly mid battle phase, you can make it harder for the Nightmare Doll player, because usually it involves setting up the board beforehand, and there's a little bit like adapting on the fly. But like I've seen decks where they will call the Honolly mid battle phase, and then I have to stop what I'm doing to get Chelsea out to then get rid of it. Or if they time it exactly correctly, just shut off my turn.
Oh, you know what I hate about like Grand Blue doing Negro Lily for Honolly is Honolly says 5th battle or more of the turn.
Yeah.
So like you can call the Honolly on attack 4.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. If it shows up on like attack 5 or more, then fine. Sucks for you. But I'm glad it the amount of diversity we saw just in top 8s overall. Like Europe had 2 Shadows, a Nova Grappler, a D Police, a Grand Blue, a Pale Moon, a Narukami, and Dark Irregulars, which is probably the most diverse that we saw.
Oh wait, I figured out what they cut for the third Chelsea. It was Comicality Chimera.
Oh, okay. So get rid of a countercharge then.
Yeah, so they traded off a countercharge to kill Honolly's more often.
Makes sense. And then in North America, it was 4 Grand Blue, 1 Genesis, Pale Moon, Shadows, and OTT. And Asia Oceania was 3 Pale Moon, 2 Bermuda, 1 Narukami, 1 Aquaforce, 1 Shadow Paladin.
And that's not even like all of the decks that are good in the format, you know? Like that's how crazy this is. In fact, one of them was DI, which is not a deck that's good in the format. Like DI's fine, but like you got to get a little lucky.
Yeah. So you entered with Gold Paladin.
Yeah, I entered with an Ezel list that I gotta tell you, I was on the wrong track. And then I talked to Zistral. And Zistral sorted me out. So my early versions of the list, right after the ban list dropped, were like, okay, I'm on Ezel, I'm on Percival, and then in my brain I went, okay, there are 3 versions of the deck: Ravenhair, Platina, Gurgit. It turns out there's a 4th version, which is just you just don't play any of those.
You just do
go
Ezel
straight
and
for the
Percival.
ultimate thread. Yeah, you just do Ezel and Percival and go directly for the ultimate thread. And I feel like that's a lot more consistent because here's the thing. If you have 3 grade 3 names in your deck and you have to split their ratios, you're less likely to draw 2 of the same one.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, it made room for extra counterchargers. I was on 3 Din Drains and 1 Knife Throwing Knight Maligant. Maligant Soul Blast 2 to countercharge 2.
Oh yeah, that 5K, right?
Yeah, it's a 5K, which also it came up a couple of times that I would have to ride the Maligant on turn 1, and then my opponent could not swing under me, so they would just have to not swing at all. That's so a strength and weakness of the deck. So the weakness is that you're playing a lot of 5K shields. The strength is that it's really hard for your opponent to swing under you.
Mm-hmm.
So they just miss their first drive check because they're not going to hit you. Of course, I had a few opponents who did just gun it, right? Like they did just swing face, sometimes hit a crit, and then I punished them for it.
Yeah, why? Because you could go into Spear X, right?
Because I could go directly into Spear X.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the games where I missed the Superior Red, I think I missed it like once, and I still won anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
what was your
your
record at the end?
So I played in both the AO event and the NA event. I went X2 in the AO event, and I went X3 in the NA event.
Okay.
I have my matchups listed here. I wrote like notes on the NA event, but I didn't on the AO one. So round 1 of AO, I played against Momo Magus, and that was a pretty easy win because you really just like PG the Momo and then take everything else, right?
Yeah.
I lost to Grand Blue 2 rounds in a row, and they were 2 different Grand Blue lists. There were a lot of Grand Blue lists.
That was North America, right?
Or no, this was AO because that one happened first.
Oh, okay.
That would happen like for me the night before.
Gotcha. Okay, so you ran into 2 different Grand Blue lists.
Yeah, in a row. One of them was like this weird, almost Highlander variant where they were just playing like a gazillion 1-ups, right?
Okay.
But they were also still playing all the good cards, so they could still win.
I think Grand Blue players do that a lot just because you have Columbard. You can search basically anything you want at any time.
Yeah, this is true, but this was like the most Highlander-y Grand Blue build I'd ever seen. Like that list was on 1 Negro Bone, which I don't think I agree with.
The original Negrobone or the new
one?
No,
one of the V Negrobone. Just 1.
Solemn's list had that.
Solemn's list had 1?
Yeah, just the 1. And then I don't know. It was fine. Do you guys have anything?
I mean,
to
I
say?
guess that makes sense.
No.
It makes some amount of sense.
I'm just listening.
Yeah.
and the people listening to us are like, are they going to say anything? Or
Look,
it's just that interesting.
All you guys.
yeah, all you.
Yeah.
So round 4, because I'd taken 2 L's in a row, I was kind of playing rogue decks now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I fought against Malkuth Melik.
What?
Premium Malkuth.
Okay. Now, did this person happen to be named Cole?
It wasn't Cole.
It wasn't.
There was another Malkuth player in the world.
Okay. Well, shout out to our patron Cole, patreon.com/Nexus at night. So wait, how'd that go?
I won that one pretty handily. They still had a couple of like the Angel Feather Battleface tricks. Like they went into like a Gabriel Stride, Eden, I think it's called. I think they went to Gabriel Eden before doing Malkuth shenanigans. They were building up protect markers. They were still relying on that like the fat no sentinel card that they have in V.
Oh yeah.
But then after that, I played against Shiranui, and I don't know if you guys have looked at Shiranui lately. They're doing some kind of cool stuff where they use they ride the V Stealth Dragon Shiranui and then use its skill to superior ride into the Stride skill Shiranui Oboro. Who do you know Oboro's Stride skill, or do you know Oboro's first skill before the Stride skill?
Isn't it like you make them call something from drop or whatever to give them
Yes.
dominate targets?
Yes. Now combine that with Stealth Rogue Mizukaze. Mizukaze
Which
Soul
does-
Blasts a grade 3, and then any grade that your opponent has called this turn, they cannot call for the rest of the turn. They can call each grade once per turn.
Huh.
So what you do is you use Obero to grab a grade 0 from their drop zone. You stride. You have your stride skilled grade 0 unit attack into like their intercept or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you call Mizukaze, you use its skill. They're already locked out of grade 0s. And then of course that leaves them 1s, 2s, 3s, which is viable now because of heal guards, and then their G guards. And that's it. And they get 1s, 2s, and 3s, ones each.
What the fuck? So you get like, depending on the size of your columns here, that's like one attack each, like maybe a sentinel thrown in there for good measure. Damn.
And that's assuming you're playing grade 1 sentinels, because your grade 0 is already gone.
Right. I don't
You
think a
used
lot
it
of
calling
decks
it from
are,
the drop zone.
I don't think a lot of decks are outright getting rid of like grade 1 sentinels completely. A lot of decks in premium will run at least one just for that.
There are a couple that are on grade 1 sense right now, like of course Luard.
Mm-hmm.
In Great Nature, Big Belly will be on Deli Belly.
Deli
pretty often.
Belly, yeah. Or
What
like a lot of
else?
deck plans will just like tech in one just because
One,
of
yeah.
stuff like that, or like Silent Tom, things like that.
Speaking of which, I guarded an Ichi-Tom today. I guarded an Ichi-Tom at BRO. That was actually in the round 1 against Momo Magus. I forgot to bring that up. But I guarded an Ichi-Tom because Heal Guardians are grade 3 trigger units. It's finally doable. We're free.
Right on. Damn.
Incredible.
You can guard Tom now.
Okay, so all right, so you beat the Nubatama guy, right?
Yeah, I beat the Shiranui. So then round 6, I play against Gurgit. I'm gonna be honest. I think that Gurgit list was a little bit jank, but it was cool. It was cool. I'll give them that.
What was cool about it?
It was just like your general like multi-attack Gurgit. They were playing like Canarius and stuff too. And Canarius, when placed from just anywhere, drops a card to check top 3 call. So you could extend your Gurgit combos with Canarius of all cards.
Okay,
Jeez.
that's random. I think I
remember.
What it looks like. Oh, that's right. Where he's got the weird like Iron Man core in his chest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at some point I was labbing a Gurgit list. This was like a year ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I was labbing a Gurgit list where we were using like it was like Tempest Sphere. It was Tempest Sphere with the vanilla Bowman and Gareth to do the superior ride with those and then turn on Canarius's GB. And like any Tempest Sphere deck, we were just looking to bash as hard as possible on turn 2, you know?
Yeah. That was so
So like the vanilla Bowman and Gareth, or at least the vanilla Gareth, like at least one of those two was very much like the play when Tempest Sphere and Cyclone were legal, because the Gareth's actual skill matters very little. Like in testing, I had resolved Gareth's CB1 to gain 10k a couple of times, but that doesn't matter if you've just got like 2 Cyclones face up. That's the same thing, but without a CB.
Yeah. Also, Cyclone never stopped being legal. It's still legal. It's just Tempest.
Yeah, Cyclone is still legal.
Yeah.
It's so funny because you can't.
I've seen some decks play vanillas just to like use Cyclone as flip fodder, and then be like, all right, I have a couple vanillas back here, like either the like 15k shields or the 12k grade 2s just for the defense.
Very technically, there's only technically room to do that in this G zone,
Yeah.
There are 2 cards I didn't go into this weekend at all, but they are cards that I went into in testing quite often. Well, not quite often, but like every once in a while. They were the GB8 and the Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword Gurgit.
Radiant Sword is the one that keeps buffing his board if you keep hitting
Yeah.
cost, right?
Radiant Sword is the one that they worded this card in a really interesting way, all right? They worded this card in such a way that even though you have Excel markers, you still only buff 5 rear guards.
That's unfortunate.
It says CB1 Soul Blast 2. This unit gets 5k for each of your rear guards until end of turn. So it does benefit itself from having Excel markers. But then it says choose up to 5 of your rear guards and they get power plus 5 until end of turn. Rip. Why can't it just choose all my rear guards?
Not allowed to have nice things.
Future or whatever.
How did they know?
So I understand not going into
GBT7.
I understand not going into the GB8 because of games don't last that long unless you're engineered to do so, or to like rush toward the GB8. But why didn't you
Listen, How Hard's just built different.
Yeah. Why didn't you go into Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword?
So first of all, its skill is a GB2 Unite ability, right? A lot of the times when I had the resources to achieve Unite and achieve a decent enough buff off of Sunrise Ray, I was already set up for Ultimate Stride.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
So I was just going to go into Ultimate instead.
Yeah, why not? That's fine.
Actually, like back in, what was it, 2018? Was that when? No, it was like 2019, right? Because year 1 of V was 2018. Golds didn't actually get cards until 2019.
Oh, okay.
But Solemn referred to this card as, quote, a mini Ultima, an Ultima Junior.
It's not too far off, honestly.
So yeah, after that, I played against Riviere. That was a hard fought game. Riviere's not like consistent, but sometimes they have a big beater, and you have to care about it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes,
That's it.
Sometimes you have to care. I beat him, but you still.
It's one of those. It's one of those decks where sometimes, like, it's one of those decks where it's like, this is not a contender, but do not let your guard down. You know. And then my round 8 for that last one no-showed, but then we move into the NA tournament, right?
Okay.
Round 1 was Luard. Hold on. This is the one I had specific notes for. I went first, kept my damage low, did attack combos with rear guards to stop the Blaster Dark Twin Drive, played around Hanali. Oh, right. I know what happened. in this. So Blonde Ezel has a skill on Vanguard Circle. Did you guys know this?
The on attack call summon from hand, right?
Yeah, did you guys know Blonde Ezel has a skill on Vanguard Circle?
Vaguely, sure.
Okay. So we combine that. We combine the on attack call with Percival and Aglavale, right? Using the skill of Percival, you search out the Aglavale, you get a second marker.
Yeah.
So I called the Percival, called the Aglavale, and then I called, like, I think it was like Bowman and another Aglavale or something. Like, the point is I had rear guards. The point is I had like 4 rear guards. So I went like Percival attack, Aglavale attack, put Percival into the soul, return to hand. I went with that other column, like unboosted, no skill. Mm-hmm. And then I did like Ezel skill, call the Aglavale back out from hand, attack with it. But that left me with I believe it was 3 rear guards on board. It was either 2 or 3, which is just enough that if they do counterblast 1 for Blaster Dark and I have to retire a card, that doesn't empty my board and they don't get Twin Drive.
So they don't get Twin Drive, you said.
Yeah, so I was playing around so like I was playing aggro while also not letting them have the Twin Drive because I had like slurped all my cards back into my hand with Aglavale.
Yeah.
I also kept my damage low, so when they were like, it's time for more Fessa, or I don't think they got to more Fessa. I think they got to like, I think they did like Drag Abyss is the one that calls 2 from deck. Drag Abyss, yeah, that's the one. They did Drag Abyss. They hit me hard with Drag Abyss, and I was like, okay, I have to end this now. I remember being like, hey, you got a ritual count? And they said 5 and 2 grade zeros. And I went, this game has to end.
We're too close for comfort. We gotta drop the load.
Yeah. So then I went Ultima.
Okay.
I went Ultima, and I also had like counter chargers that I called off of Ultima so that I could play through Honolly.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Then there was Victor. The Victor player was not too lucky in terms of like drive checks and also combo pieces, and I was also just pushing cards out of their hand the whole time, so that was great. Mm-hmm. That one had second stride Ultima. Round 3 was Luard a second time.
Okay.
Let's see here. My opponent G assisted early on. This Luard list was on a drag fall. Both of the Luard lists I played against were on Dragfall and not like V Dragheart or G Dragheart or like the Drag Driver V. Those are all. I think Luard is super neat because it has like those 4 different variants, right? Yeah. Where it's like these decks want to do the same thing, but they have different tools to get there.
It might also be one of the like few decks where the stride bonus version of it is like competitive enough where people still run it. It's not like a thing where like, oh, I throw one in there because sometimes it's nice to have. That's my guy going for Dragfall, going for the original Luard, whatever.
Yeah, so that's the thing that Shiranui had going for it is. So Shiranui does like run 1 to 2 of it, but that's because you superior ride it.
Yeah. So, but like again, that's 1 as opposed to like I'm running 4 Dragfall, 1.
That's true.
Because
like you are gunning directly into the Shiranui Oboro. It's just that you don't need to play for.
Okay, but yeah, so that's still like a very solid stride skill. But
yeah, then here I had an unfortunate 2 rounds in a row that were lost. First was Maelstrom, of all decks, Maelstrom, right?
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes Maelstrom players check front triggers, and your Spear-X calls are, and I quote, absolute dog crap booty ass.
Absolute dog crap booty. We got to put that on a t-shirt.
That's funny.
Yeah, I can tell I was salty when I made this one, actually.
I can't say I blame you, to be honest. That's I'd be pissed off too, especially because like the first 3 before that were wins, right?
Yeah. But then the next one was when I played Rurab.
Okay.
Let's see here. We spent about 4 times fighting over who gets first stride, poking pot shots with Grade 2 Vanguards. I eventually had to stop a 2-crit Leslie column with heal guards, and he decided to go in since I couldn't G guard anymore. I did double heal guard at one point in that game, and that was a bad decision on my part because that was what caused Rurab to ride up because he knew I couldn't do the second stride Ultima because I was likely to not have a 3rd heal in hand.
Right. Damn, that's very good gamesmanship.
Yeah, like we had a nice discussion about it. It was great.
Yeah.
But then round 6 wasn't crazy, but it was also the only time I called a judge in the whole event, and it wasn't like for any issue or anything, right? It was just like I looked at his list, and I went, "Huh, I wonder how that interaction works." I'm gonna ask a judge before we start.
Okay,
it was.
Now, hang on. So when you say open list, and when you get paired up with the guy, is the list just like in a link next to your matchup thing, or like what?
Yeah. So we're using Battlefy for the list, right? And it shows your like registration fields that you had to fill out to join the tournament in the first place. So it just has the deck log link that you uploaded right there.
Okay, so you can just click on it.
So you just click on it, open it in a new tab, and then you have their list open the whole game.
Gotcha. Now
that was a game changer, actually. Like,
what was the what were you playing? What was the interaction, and what did you call the judge about?
Okay. So my opponent was on MLB Thingsaver, right?
Okay.
And he was running 2 copies of the V Clan Collection 1 Thingsaver Dragon and 2 copies of the, what's it called, Legion of Dragons and Blades Thingsaver Dragon. And what you can do with the Legion of Dragons and Blades Thingsaver is at the end of the battle that it attacked, Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 3, Superior Ride A, Seeker Thingsaver Dragon from your deck, and Legion with a Blaster Blade Seeker from your soul. Since you are legioning by the skill of that Thingsaver Dragon, the one that you're going into does not have to have the Seekmate ability.
Oh.
And I went. I remember reading that there was some condition where the Legion Mate falls off during the end phase.
Okay.
I don't remember what that condition is, though, so we're gonna ask a judge about it. And he went, yeah, sure, that's cool by me.
That's
and
what
so
he
we
just
brought
decided?
the judge. We brought the.
Oh, he was okay with the judge. Got it.
No, he was okay with the judge. But we brought the judge in, and this was before we started playing, because I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot you could do this, but I think this happens, and he was like, no, I don't think that's how it happens, and I was like, I'm not sure, you're not sure, let's call a judge.
Yeah.
But it turns out that what it is when you stride, you leave the Legion state. This is another ruling that I actually know from Zero, because I've been playing Bluish Flames now that G's out, and I've been using like the vanilla strides or whatever for like the card advantage, right?
Yeah.
And I've been on Guido as my starter, and Guido calls a card from top 3 if you are in Legion. And I noticed I couldn't use Guido if I strode.
So something you learned from Zero was being used in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being the case, if you strode, like, and you leave the Legion state, it doesn't come back into a Legion state. It just.
So here's how it works. When your heart cards become vanguards again, right? It checks both of the cards to see if one of them has the Seekmate ability. Mm-hmm. And if it has Seekmate and the other card is the mate, then they resume in state. But what V Thingsaver doesn't have is the Seekmate ability. So, when you Soulmate Legion with Thingsaver and you use V Thingsaver to do it, you stay in Legion state indefinitely until you stride. Then you exit the Legion state. When you exit the stride state, the Blaster Blade is removed. I believe it goes into the drop zone.
Okay.
So I just wanted to be sure of that before we like played. He didn't actually do any like Thingsaver shenanigans, I think. Another funny thing is you can have 2 hearts and 2 vanguards because you can copy Thingsaver with Crystal Luster.
Oh my god. So if this guy was me, what would happen was he would ride the Legion of Dragon and Blades Thingsaver, Twin Drive, and then he would get the 2 V-Series Thingsavers in the drive checks and then be like, fuck. That's what would happen. But he wasn't.
That's another Vanguard Zero experience right there. Is like, yeah, draw trigger. Wait, which draws were those? And they're both the Thingsavers. Because there was a point where like, so I don't play Royals in Zero. I haven't played Royals in Zero since like MLB, but I did have 2 Thingsavers, exactly 2. So I was like, screw it. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna screw around. And of course, I'm like, ride, seek mate, Legion, attack, draw trigger. It's the Thingsaver.
Oh my god.
After that was Die Liner. Dude, why are those grade 3s worth 25k shield?
They're huge.
Matt, what am I supposed to do? Matt, you play this deck. What am I supposed to do?
I don't really play this deck, but you hit harder.
Get good, son.
And then the last round was Asha. And that one I won pretty handily because I did have like PGs for the Vanguard and the Flower Fairy token.
Asha?
Asha. I don't know.
That's not it.
All the things.
That's not it.
That guy irked me though. That guy made me a little upset, right? Because it was like every time we did the cut, he would be like, so if somebody told me like, oh, do 5 off at the top after we cut, I would be like, okay, sure. But this guy gave me a different number every time.
What?
What?
Oh,
I would go like 1, 2, 3, and he'd go 3, 2, 1, 5 off the top. I'd go 1, 2, 3. He'd go 2, 1, 3, 3 off the top.
What the heck? I hate this.
It was a different number every time.
It doesn't even change very much, but you know.
I know.
It's like I understand the superstition of being like, hey, can you get 5 off the top or whatever? Because that's like the anti-stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why is it a different number every time? One time he said 7.
I actually think that if your opponent cuts a certain number of cards off the top of your deck, that's also kind of sketch. But I guess it's remote, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
it's
if it were like a
remote.
live event,
Like-
if it were like a live event, if somebody like takes one card from the top of my deck and puts it on the bottom, I'm gonna assume that they're not legit. But
So
I
then
guess
It's like
Then you do one last riffle just to be like, okay. And then,
oh yeah, well when people like in real life when people hand me their deck to cut, I shuffle it every time
Yeah.
because I don't trust people's cheating shenanigans or like
at locals. At locals, I'm just gonna like cut and then move on. But like if I'm at an event, I'm riffling like at least once, at least twice.
No, I shuffle it no matter what, but I shuffle also very softly, but and very quickly as well. And I absolutely detest pile shuffling.
Yes.
Oh yes,
yeah.
There
It's a
was a
meme with
discussion
us
in the
at this
judge
point.
chat about this, right? There was a discussion in the judge chat
No,
today. I screenshotted this because I knew it would serve me well in the future. I think I'll just
If you
like
want-
send it to one of you
Yeah,
on
here.
Discord or something.
Send it to me on Discord. I can like put it up on the screen here if you guys can
Yeah.
like keep vamping. While
Yeah, but here, but like it was. This is just a section from when we were talking about like, I do believe it was Casmania who was like, riffle shuffling is already not a shuffle.
What?
And like not a sufficient shuffle, and we were like, oh, you're right, but can we please see it in policy documents so that we can show people when they don't believe us?
Wait, you mean pile shuffling? You mean pile shuffling is not a
Or sorry, pile shuffling. Yeah, not riffle shuffling.
Yeah.
Riffle shuffling is great. Do it 7 times or so, and your deck is just like good to go.
And like so, what's interesting to me is the defense that people come to defend pile shuffling, and so there's pretty much like 2 lines of defense, right? It's like either I'm counting my deck is like the defense, right? But it's Vanguard. There's no sideboard, so you should only need to do it exactly 1 time a match. But in best of 3, people will do it between games, even in a deck without sideboarding. And if you're dropping a card between games, you should probably not play card games. If you're worried about dropping a card between every single game, we should probably just go home.
All right, here we go.
So like every once in a while, you'll be like, oh, I forgot to put my G assist pile back, but like
okay,
that's
so
like one in like 30 games, you know?
All right, so for people listening, can I say the person's name or is that like?
I think that'd be fine because like they're like public facing judges
And their aliases. All right, so Chairman says deal shuffle, a shuffling method where cards are dealt into various piles, 1 card at a time, then consolidating all of them back into a deck. Recommended method for the beginning of any rounds. As suggestion, try splitting into 5 piles or 7. If certain cards are grouped together before this shuffle, this part's highlighted. There may be a chance that this method will not serve the full purpose of a shuffle, so please do not use this method if the deck is in that state. Highlighting stops.
Can I make a quick statement? I think telling people to pile shuffle at all is pretty useless. It doesn't really do like it doesn't like it's actually never random, right? Like you can map where every card goes. If like let's say your deck was sorted, right? You can actually map where every card in your deck goes.
Yeah.
By a pile shuffling. So that's like it's not actually random at all and serves no chance of increasing of adding any amount of randomness to your shuffle. So it's being a gigantic waste of time, right? And so the second, I mentioned the first line of defense, right, is basically like, I'm worried about dropping cards all the time, but it's like, don't. The other line of defense, and this is the much more sketchy line, but one you'll see a lot, is like, I only use it to declump. Now, let's
can we talk about declumping? Because like we were.
Oh my fucking god, we've done this like 8 times.
because here's the thing.
I know what it is.
Hold on.
Listen.
Fine. It's fine. I'm good.
No. We are talking about declumping.
Why?
So
We've talked
Farfa
about
did a video on
declumping.
this, right?
Motherfucker.
But not. I wasn't here. I wasn't here. So like 3 months ago, Farfa did a video where like he got into an argument with it was Distant Coder, and then like I don't remember the other. Oh, the other judge was Light Phoenix, who's like the head judge of Dueling Book. But he got into an argument with those two about like what declumping is, right? Like Light Phoenix was like, declumping is stacking though, and Farfa went, but it's not stacking, it's just declump. It doesn't affect randomization. And then he just went, then why are you declumping?
Okay, so wait,
Because that's my logic, right? Is if it doesn't affect randomization, why do you have to do it?
I don't know what to tell you, Matt.
No, I'm done with the conversation. Thank you.
Oh, he's done. Okay.
I mean,
Good job,
I
man.
say one thing and I get ran over, so I don't really care.
I care.
No, Matt, you gotta go off.
No,
Oh my god.
I'm done.
So don't
Aw.
do that next time, Garmore. Okay, so
This happens to me all the time. I just whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what's in terms of the like diversity in the top 8 thing, is there anything in the meta or do we think needs to be addressed afterward?
Dolls are really strong, but I don't think they're like invincible. They are definitely like best deck, but I don't think they're invincible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think dolls are a fine deck to have around, at least for a while.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, I don't think Matt, you taught me that the metric of something being too broken is half of the tops most of the time, right?
I don't know about that. I don't know. It's very variable with respect to different card games, but in Vanguard, people it's hard to gauge because people just won't play it even if it's correct to do so, like ever. Like so, it's pretty hard to say like what percentage a deck is like too broken, but like you could definitely see it in like V with Prism, right? Like
Yeah.
it being like just literally everywhere, and you're just like, and for a while there wasn't even a check to it really. So it's like it's a bit difficult to gauge in Vanguard because people are going to play whatever they're going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing about Vanguard is people get really into like I like X deck, or I like X kind of deck, right? Or like I only have X kind of deck, and that tends to be like that tends to prevent people from going, I will simply play the one that is the best. A lot of people are like, I will play the best deck about the ones that I like.
Mm-hmm. It's that meme that this is brilliant, but I liked this.
Yeah,
with the two
like,
cars. Yeah.
And you know, it makes sense. Like, if I have a choice between playing dolls and playing Ezel, and they're both like solid decks, but I just hate how Nightmare Dolls play, then I'd be miserable if I played an 8-round event with Nightmare Dolls.
Yeah. I mean, people are gonna like have fun with what they have fun with because it's
so I just have to play Ezel.
Yeah. Now, one thing I was very interested in was everybody was thinking Ezel was going to be the top dog. Ezel and Grand Blue. That's what everyone was predicting, it seemed. And Grand Blue definitely upheld its end of the bargain, especially in North America. But Ezel was nowhere to be found. Why do we think that is?
It's because all the Ezel players bubbled. also because like some of the Ezel players that didn't bubble were like just not on good lists. I've looked at the list, right? Because and I might lose access to these soon because apparently Bushi didn't like expressly permit posting these, but NA and AO both posted like spreadsheets that have the list of all the participants who like the list of all the participants, their deck logs, and then what clan they played.
Okay.
So I have access to pretty much every gold list that was played in the event. And they're not all wonderful. I'm just gonna click on one. David. This is a Gurgit list. This is a Gurgit list, but like no superior ride, no nothing.
Okay.
Here's this. I'll talk about what's in it. So that makes this one is on an over trigger as opposed to the Ultima, which isn't. But like, I mean, if you don't have the Ultima, then do it.
Yeah, if you can't afford the Ultima, then what are you gonna do?
Yeah, because I once I ended up with a list on like VG top decks from before I had my Ultima, right? So I was running the OT in that list, and it's not correct, but it was what I had.
It's what you got. So your theory is that a lot of the better gold lists got bubbled, and that's because like I saw other Ezel lists that were like X2s and whatnot, and they were like decent lists. Like who was it? Where'd he go? It's important to remember that to people who are like, oh, Ezel didn't get in any top 8 spots, therefore it doesn't matter, are wrong, because like you said, it takes a little bit of luck to get
format's
to the
big.
Top 8. Yeah, format's really big. There's 3 of these things. Like things like DP and OTT and DIs were kind of almost flukes, it seems like, and they got in there. So by that very same token,
here's the thing, right?
By that very same token, oh my god, stop it. Okay, by that very same token, golds could have gotten bubbled out by stupid dumb luck. Now I'm done. You go ahead.
Like from experience, I'm on the like funny haha Lucksack deck. DP is also the funny haha Lucksack deck. OTT is almost also the funny haha Lucksack deck. All 3 of those decks have just like competing sack factor, right?
I can understand the OTT thing. What's up with DP then?
The sacking in DP is hoping your opponent doesn't have PGs.
Oh, why? Just because big crits and
because big number, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the issue with DP is that X-Gallop hits 107k for no reason. It's like, what are you supposed to do about that?
All that stuff.
Right? You go like Force Marker, it gains 10k per face-up card in your G-Zone, and then you call V Commander Laurel and double its power in crit.
Right. I heard the legend of a guy who did Laurel twice, and then
he was like he was on like 300k power. It was crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty wacko. So anything else you want to say about BRO here?
Did I finish my matchup notes? I don't know if I stopped at Weirab, I think. Or no, I stopped at the No, I did, because I talked about the Asha player, and that was the last one I played.
Yeah.
Good workout there, everybody. This was a really good weekend. I'm gonna be judging for the V Premium event. Otherwise, I would be playing Agravain. But I got to make that $15 an hour. Let's get this bread.
I would be doing it if not for the fact that I got shit to do, like the rest of us. So, because I just got informed that I found my apartment that I will be moving into. So this time next month, the Ozzy Osbourne painting may not be behind me anymore.
Nice.
The sacrilege.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah. So a lot of it is like just trying to make arrangements and talking about moving and family stuff. So yeah, I won't be there for V, and I'm not going to D standard because I don't give a fuck. So yeah,
he is cringe.
But Atlas,
I'm surprised they didn't.
Sagara Overdress will be out.
I'm surprised they didn't flip it around where you start with the most simple format and then ramp up to
Well,
premium.
here's why they did it. It actually is perfect. The layout is exactly perfect to the product releases, because Clan Collection came out before Premium and V, and if were it not for like the 1 week delay, right? It would have been like everybody has 2 weeks to get their Clan Collection product in for Premium, and then 3 weeks to get it in for V. And that's a great, healthy amount of time. It gives people time for their cards to ship and everything.
Yeah.
But then, in about 2 weeks, DBT 3 comes out. And that's why they had to push Overdress into January.
Got it.
So that everybody has time to get their cards. Yeah. Everybody has time to get their cards from DBT 03.
Got it. And then the holidays and all that throws a wrench in it too.
And like, when I first saw the schedule, I popped off because I was like, oh, this is exactly what it needs to be. You can't do the schedule any other way for it to work out okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be able to switch V and Premium technically, but it's like people still want their heel guards for Premium.
Yeah.
People still want the heel guards for Premium and they still want them for V. Like,
yeah. I think it's fine. Just like the way you explained it makes sense.
I wonder if there's anyone who didn't receive their heel guards in time for the tournament.
That would be highly unfortunate.
Europeans, unfortunately, they got like mega delays in Europe. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, I made sure to get everyone's stuff out, like, and it all arrived by that Monday. So
that's good.
So I got my heel guards after registration had closed, but I had confirmed shipping, so I was like, I'm not going to worry about it.
That's one of those things where you're just like waiting by the mailbox, like, motherfucker better have my cards.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I told you guys about how I freaking talked to Pro Play Games, right? Or how I ordered from Pro Play Games to get my Star Vader deck in order, and it took 2 weeks. And then I talked to them, and I was like, "Hey, where are my cards?" I got a message that night that was like, "Oh, you should have received them by now. Would you like a refund or to refulfill your order?" And I said, "Refulfill, please." And the cards showed up 2 days later, and then I got another message that was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I passed your request on. We'll see what we can do."
So the first one got there just really late, and then the second one.
The first one got there. I think they're like talking like they are to try and cover themselves. I think they were like, okay, if we ship it now, it'll get there like Wednesday, and we'll say now that we are covering the order.
But yeah, I had something like that.
But the cards got here ahead of their message.
I had something like that where I ordered off of TCG Player, and then like half of my order was missing. I'm like, hey, where's my stuff? And they were like, oh, you didn't. We said that it was going to come in 2 separate packages, and then like 30 seconds later, there's a message. Your thing may show up in 2 separate packages. I'm like, come on, you're not even trying. That
you didn't say that. You didn't.
You didn't fucking say
like,
that.
Come on.
All right, so I think for most of this, you can pretty much check everybody else's thing out too. So that's good. But I do want to review this one card that got revealed during this
one card that excites me very much.
Which is it? A lot. Oh, this one.
Here we go. So, Garmore, you want to read it?
Oh, there it is. Chakravarti True Dragon Mahar Nirvana is a grade 4 with triple drive and 13k power that says continuous on Vanguard. During your turn, if you have a unit in the overdress state, all of your front row units get power plus 10,000. And at Vanguard Circle, once per turn, CB1, put a card with Nirvana in its name from your hand or soul into your drop zone. Choose a grade 0 from your drop zone and call it. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, and if your opponent has 4 or less cards in their damage zone, deal them 1 damage. So I can talk about this card on 2 levels, right? 2 levels. The first is that I think it's just a genuinely good card that makes that simplifies a lot of the issues with Nirvana right now. Because while you lose your countercharge on Urger, you
And the
use
extra
less
attack.
counterblast. You lose your counterblast and extra attack, but you use less counterblast, and also you're already pinging your opponent for a damage, which makes up for the extra attack.
Yeah, but it's like happening turn 4.
This is
Well,
true. This is true.
It is funny that Nirvana's back to a 3-attack deck.
Yeah, they're like,
But,
we're gonna
like, I
make it
think
better
it's- I
by
think it's
making
okay.
it worse. What?
I think
Like,
it's okay because it's a 3-attack deck that pings you for a damage.
Yeah, Zorga can't even do that.
Uh-huh.
Suck on that.
Don't talk. I think Zorga is. I feel
Zorga
like
is good.
Zorga's doomed. I feel like Zorga.
Zorga is like good in theory. It like has cool cards, but
And then it has
it's
cards.
not- Wait,
that
I
don't
didn't
work.
read the Zorga support. It just gets drive +1 and that's it.
Yeah,
It's awful. This card's
So
bad.
bad.
This card's bad.
Never mind. I said Zorga was good because Zorga's like
Oh,
cool
hold
in
on,
set 2.
hold on,
If
it gets
that's
worse.
it. I'm out.
It gets worse.
Is
It gets
this thing?
worse.
Oh no. So okay. So let's talk about this thing. Let me read this thing.
Fine, go for
Okay.
it.
All right. So
I'm gonna write
roaming
down
prison-
that second
All
level
right.
for a second.
So it
and
has
come
this,
back to it.
so roaming prison dragon says auto drop when you play a normal order. You can call the card rear guard. If you call this card, perform one of the following. If it's alchemy magic, perform both. 10. You can choose that it gets 10k or it gets a crit. If you alchemy magic, it's both. Now the issue is that let's say you GDR or whatever. This gets none of that.
Yeah,
It's
it comes
none
out
of it.
after you play.
It comes out after the order.
I have a lot of problems.
Not to mention it's 5K.
Oh,
5K
also it's
grade 3,
5K.
everybody.
So
Yeah.
it still
Wait,
hits
it's
like
5? I thought it was
Yeah,
a 13 that gained 10k. I was like, oh, this card's
Oh.
good.
So this
Oh,
card can be
God.
called out at grade 2, obviously, with like condensation, and come out with like a 13k booster, and you can hit for 18 or 28, 18 crit 2 or 28 on grade 2, which is
Yeah.
probably why it's a 5k. But that in order to make that play, you would have to run like probably near 4 copies of this card.
Yeah.
And even but later in the game, you can basically make it a 43 column or on your post ride turn 53 with a crit. But this card's very awkward. Like I think the card is like probably good, but it definitely is designed in a very bizarre way. It's like it's
very
literally when you can in Vanguard.
It misses his activation window.
It's just like the most
Yeah.
frustrating like
And just
So
Have to do
the
a lot
other
of
level
really
that I wanted to
awkward-
talk about, sorry, you go ahead, Root Beer.
Yeah, so it's like, in order to get this card up to like an appreciable power level, you gotta like haul the booster out, buff it up, and it has to be on Alchemagic for it to get both. So there's just a lot of extra steps you have to take to make this thing an appreciable number. And if you compare it to something like I forgot what the Virina was called in set 3, but that one where it's like
Expecta.
Specta. Yeah, where it's like that one's also a bit awkward, but it's fucking massive for a moderate amount of setup. And it's like, why is this thing 5k?
But that setup can also just be doing an arcs on turn 2.
Yeah. And like the only explanation I would have is that being a 13k might make it broken for like Magnolia, because you can
True.
if it was 13k, you could just use Magnolia with like Wild Intelligence, call a board, call this thing, and it's just a 13k with a crit.
Yeah, but then the easy fix to that is just be like, okay, then
If your Vanguard is Zorga.
yeah, if you're that afraid of it, just make the Vanguard Zorga. Done. Like,
Yeah, like normally we like generic cards, but like in this case, being generic probably made it worse.
yeah.
Wait.
Too little, too late, guys.
They can't make it if your Vanguard is Zorga because then you can't play it with the anchor guy.
All right. The one like sheep like
They have a
Kroger
bunch of
brands.
random cards that just have Alchemagic written on them.
Yeah, like
I'm-
Cloak Shadow,
listen.
which is like weirdly good in that Decay Hollow Mega Colony build.
Listen. I like the anchor guy because like I had just stopped thinking about the concept of overdress limited fight because we were so sick of it's the start decks.
Mm-hmm.
But this adds like one more, one more to try and care about.
So
But the other thing I wanted to talk about with Mahar Nirvana was it does a thing that I like in Vanguard card designs from a thematic standpoint, where it is very clearly a parallel to Baba Sagra in terms of its effect design. Because where Baba Sagra has the sword that is CB2, chuck a damage at your opponent, just do it. Nirvana has the counterblast, call a grade 0, and then deal a damage. And I really like how they are setting up. They are setting up like even down to their decks. They are setting up this like rivalry and these parallels between Yu, who are supposed to be our main protagonist, and then Mirai, who's supposed to be the main antagonist at the moment. This is something that this is a very subtle way of achieving what Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark achieved, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. I feel like my opinion on this card hinges very much on what the new Virina does.
This is fair. But like even looking at like Baba Sagra itself, Baba Sagra was already like a parallel to the original Nirvana. We figured out that they were supposed to have some kind of interaction with like Overdress or Trickstar based on like we already knew before Baba Sagra got revealed that like this probably does something with grade 0s, because they foreshadowed it by having the Trickstar that Yu receives be like in this sleeve with a sticker on it, and then showing like, oh, Mirai has stickers on her card sleeves, and it's like, oh, I wonder who that's for.
Yeah.
And then they reveal Baba Sagra and it's like it does something with grade 0s, and we're like, oh, so it's meant to play with Overdress cards, and that hypes us up to see what this does. And then they reveal Trick Moon, which works in Baba Sagra as the 25k booster, but is also a countercharger that Nirvana has access to.
It's true.
And I just love the way that like Baba Sagra and Nirvana are just these incredibly cohesive like mirrors of one another. And I hope they keep that up because it's so much fun. Like this is flavorful card design.
All I can say is that there is supposed spice between this new Nirvana and Stunverse Dragon. Because Stunverse can get out of the way, like do his thing, get out of the way. Now you're on Nirvana, and then
call your wipe out.
So here's the thing, right? Is you just bind a bunch of cards, and then ping them for a damage, and then attack.
Yeah. Now, in the process, you also cut off your ability to get Excel circles in the future because you can't ride 4 down to 3. And
that attitude.
Any like name,
just make your opponent drachma you.
Yeah,
easy.
Any like name related stuff, right? Where they're just like, oh, if your Vanguard's like Eradicator or Vanquisher or whatever it is, like that gets turned off too. So consider that, but still kind of neat. I like the idea.
So here's the thing: I don't think that the Overdress premium decks have to be like good yet, but that they're an option is cool, right? And that's what I want to see is a way for people who started with D to, if they become big fans of some of these units, play them in premium and have at least a fun time with them.
Yeah. I would still advocate for like a new premium collection with some new strides or rear guards to support.
G-guards.
I'm here for that.
Give us G-guards.
Dude. Here's what they need to do, right? Every premium collection, every clan has gotten 2 new cards. Instead of doing a main deck trigger, they do a G-guard. Or no. They just do G-guards for all the clans. And then they do and they have to make their print rates like pretty high to prevent them from being like expensive. But they do like ride line strides.
Yeah. Like,
and I wonder what those would look like, but like that'd be cool.
Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you once this comes out in English.
What the heck is this?
You'll see.
This is a Mega Colony. This is Mega Colony like Alpha Magic list.
Are you playing the Magnolia Mega Colony?
No. No Magnolia Mega Colony, although I do think that's kind of neat. That doesn't mean I'm going to make it. Just that is a thing. You will see.
I'm sus.
I want to wait for it to come out in English because these proxies are, let's be honest, terrible.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Every once in a while,
so I have access to only the black and white printer at my work, and the color printer is only for text. And then I realized if I just went add new printer, I could add the color printer. So proxies in color, hooray!
You're just like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna do it. Like it's that
Power
easy.
of basic Windows knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
So every once in a while, I will go like, it'd be funny if I played Hex Orb in Premium, wouldn't it? It'd be funny if I tried to fill a board with Gold Paladin cards while playing Hex Orb. And then I just never get around to making a list because I know it will be bad, but I should just do it.
I feel like it would work better in Shadows or Royals just because you have a stride that can copy your heart ability.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing. That's what makes me mad about Crystal Luster and Chain Ranker is that just every other deck just gets to do it, you know? Like they just get to go because they have Chain Ranker and Crystal Luster.
Yeah, and then randomly Narukami can do it because of Stunverse.
Yeah, it's like
getting out of the way. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. This card is crazy. This card is cool. This card is important.
What am I looking at?
I still don't know why we didn't get a Crystal Luster copy, you know?
What is that?
Golden Dragon, Brambit Dragon was our premium collection 2020 Stride.
Oh, the one that's draw 2, call 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this card's good. This card is very good, and I am so glad that Gold Paladin has access to this. This is a godsend in the Mega Colony matchup because you can just bot deck rested rear guards.
Oh yeah, no, that was Richard's only recourse against me when I was playing that deck over there because like you can't call from anywhere except hand. So he's like, "Fuck it."
So you just call from hand. It's fine.
He just calls from hand.
Easy.
Yeah. But Garm, thanks for coming on the show. Again. Where can people find and follow you?
I'm on YouTube and Twitter at GleamingGarmore, just like in this corner right here.
If you're watching, if they're listening, they're like,
if you're watching, it's in this corner right here.
Yeah,
that's the right corner.
Yeah.
Unlike Matt, I have 3 Gs actually.
That's true.
That's true. It does have 3D.
I only have 2 Gs and 2 Zs.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me do the banner thing. There you go.
2 Gs, 2 Zs on Twitter.
Yeah. And my name isn't even correlated to my Twitter name, which is at Plasma Eclipse.
He does the arts. And then you can find me at Atlas Novak on Twitter, Instagram, or check out my my other podcast at Generation Dan on Twitter. New episodes every Thursday. It's Gen X, Y, and Z arguing about X, Y, and Z topics. And then you can find us at Nexus at Nights on Twitter, Instagram, or if you want to help support the show, patreon.com/Nexus at Night. $5 a month. You get a whole ass bonus show every week. Yeah, sometimes we have friends on, sometimes crazy stuff like my girlfriend shows up on an episode, I think like 3 weeks ago. At this point, it was me, her, and Rice, which, oh my God, crazy.
It's a bizarre trio.
It was a very bizarre trio. It was the week where I was like, it's my fault. I'll make up for it. And then I like my Bad News Bears team was my girlfriend and Rice. That was the kid on the motorcycle. All right.
You would
So
introduce your girlfriend to Rice?
I mean, my girlfriend was the girl on the team who was like really good. Anyway, until next time, I was Atlas.
I'm still Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
And I'm Amy.
And have a good night, everybody.